including signing some of these guys in the offseason? What do they portend for the Pirates as we look forward to 2022?
Yeah, well, certainly, we look for opportunities on our roster where we have a fit, a need, and we're looking for guys who we think have some perhaps untapped potential. We can turn up a skill, might contribute in our clubhouse, might be a good influence on the team, and have a chance to, potentially some of these guys be here longer than 1 year. And then, of course, we want to look at, make sure that we're not unintentionally limiting opportunity for someone who's already here by signing a free agent. So we sort of, we try to balance all those things. Looking forward to seeing Q out there today, his first start in a Pirates uni against his old mates.
And look, we're looking at some of the trade acquisitions and some of the free agents you signed. That also includes young guys you've acquired, Ben. Miguel Yajure picked up his first victory. We saw Contreras at the end of last year, Roansy Contreras, and now again this year. Diego Castillo has looked wonderful for a couple of games. We have O'Neal Cruz knocking on the door, obviously. As you look at this farm system, again, just in general terms, it's gotten tremendous kudos from everybody around baseball. Is the backbone of your next winning team, is there enough in that system to feel comfortable that, this is going to be the backbone, along with the players you have now, of the next winning ball club for the Pirates?
Well, we were excited about spring training this year, partly because of those young players you mentioned and the chance to see them in games, and sure enough, we did. I think our spring training games were really interesting to watch. And that's not the same as regular season games, but that does mean that, when you start seeing them in spring training games, it means that we're going to see more and more in Pittsburgh regular season games soon enough. So we're really excited about the direction. We're really excited about the amount of young talent we have and continue to add. We're also not satisfied by any means. We have really important work ahead of us to help these young players grow and continue to add more. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep the pedal down, go as fast as we possibly can so that it adds up to winning in Pittsburgh as fast as it possibly can.
Ben, first off, congratulations on a big day signing Ke'Bryan Hayes. It's an awesome thing for the city, for you, and for Ke'Bryan. But I want to talk about individualized player plans. These guys have an individual approach. You guys have come in, kind of reworked the development process that was in place and said, hey, we're going to meet each and every human being with a plan that suits them, but it's more suggestive based, is what you said, than just like, here, you have to do this. Explain that to the fans. I think it's a very intriguing thing, and it's something that the fans, I think, would be very interested in.
Yeah, I think the human part you mentioned and suiting them, that's where the player needs to be involved in that process. But it really starts with a really good, accurate assessment. We need to figure out, where guys are, and that includes the player in that conversation, but includes staff, analysts, scouts, etc. Get a really good handle on where a player is currently, what the strengths are, maybe if there's an area we can turn up, and then the plan gets into, okay, well, let's identify one or two things that if we turn up a little bit, if we improve a skill, or maybe even use a skill, maybe it's just using a skill more in some cases. Those are the highest leverage goals to meet. So those would change over time, but certainly early on in here in 2022, every player on our major league roster has that. We're developing those plans with, we have that assessment done. We know what these guys are trying to do to get better. Certainly the same thing with our minor league players, and then we look at that regularly over the course of the season and see how those skills are coming along. But back to how you started, yeah, it's important that the players in the center of that. It's not my opinion or our opinion, like what a player is capable of. We're just simply there to identify what's the thing that would help you the most right now, and then you keep going so that eventually the players go past where people expect that they might be able to go.
Ben, you brought on one of my favorite people, and Andy Haynes. I call him Big Dog. He's a guy that talked about blending the old school and the new school approach within development. He said prior to having all this technology, it was almost like a suggestion, but it was more of an opinion. Now you have this information that says, hey, these are the facts. We're going to try to teach you what's going on. Explain how the new school and old school is kind of blending together, and that's really what's taking it to the next level for you guys.
Yeah, I think the simplest way to say it is that the technology allows us to assess more accurately, allows us to measure performance and improvement more accurately, less guesswork, as you said, less sort of subjective opinion, and, well, it looked good or it didn't look good, and we're not really sure sometimes. So the technology allows us to assess that more accurately, but where experience and wisdom comes in is in both, yeah, I know it's saying this, but I still see this player having an opportunity to do this better, improve this because of something else, because of the way his mind works or the way his body moves or something else he's doing gives us a sense that he can improve in a way that maybe the technology is not always telling us. And then just as importantly, it's the art of coaching. That's where the experience comes in. Is technology is a tool, just like a fungo bat was a new tool 40 years ago, whatever that was. It's just these are new tools that we use, but coaches are the ones communicating with players, being the guide to help them on their way towards that improvement. And you can't replace the experience when it comes to coaching, the wisdom of knowing how to communicate with a player, how to listen to a player, when the right time is to maybe make a suggestion, when the right time is to back off. We've got a fun staff to work with here, including Andy, a bunch of folks who have the experience, but also just have a real open mind and a thirst for learning and love the game and love players. So it's an easy clubhouse to walk in.
And again, we could ask you a ton of questions, but I will finish up with this because we've talked a little bit about you need the top guys to be able to get to the major leagues. But in the time you've taken over, we've seen guys that weren't considered top prospects, that were sort of left on the side of the road a little bit as far as prospect ranking. Certainly not by the organization. Jared Triolo, Matt Frazier, Adrian Florencio. How important is it for you to continue to develop not just the high-end guys, but also find guys that have some talent and bring that to the forefront so they become top prospects and eventually contributors in Pittsburgh?
There's no playoff team, World Series team that I can remember was made up of players that everybody thought were obvious, if you look back 5 or 10 years before that. So every good team has players that might exceed expectations, just get better faster than you expect, whatever it is. So our approach here with the Pirates is to put the player, no matter who the player is, put the player in the best possible position to improve, perform, pour all our resources into that. Ultimately, we believe in players. We believe in we believe humans can get better. If we don't, we better get out of this business. So our job is to guide that, to put resources behind it, in some case then get out of the way, let the players take over.
So exciting. Ben Cherrington, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Enjoy your opening day. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, guys.